Hello, EPT crew. Happy New Year. Yeah, it's February, so I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be able to say Happy New Year any longer. But since I have not been on and the host of EPT have not been recording, um, I'm going to say Happy New Year because, yeah, it's still a Happy New Year. I'm going to say it until I feel like not saying it any longer. How about that? I'm going to break some traditional norms. But I am just coming on to just, again, say Happy New Year, share some changes with the show. Everything is kind of evolving, which is fine. Evolution is fine. Change is good. I'm okay with change, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't care what kind of change it is. Sometimes you got to go through the hard changes in order to get to where you're trying to be in this life. So I have been dealing with some changes, nothing life altering, just changes, changes, things that are good, healthy changes, I guess. Still trying to test this whole system out. I'm still getting some stalling going on. Again, looking to perfect this thing as time goes on. But the thing I have noticed a lot about anything that you end up perfecting, you end up evolving into something else that you need to learn and perfect that. So that's called growth. I believe in growth. Okay. All right. Okay. Again, how are you guys doing? How's everybody doing? I don't do New Year's resolutions, even though it's February, but I have, like I said, been making some changes. There'll be some changes to the show. I'll talk about those a little later on in some additional episodes. We're going to start seeing some additional guests, hosts on the show, which is also good because, again, this is about us sharing our experiences as learned individuals over our 50 plus years of living. But we're going to have some all kind of voices, not just 50 plus year old voices, but we want to hear from everybody, right? Not just the middle age. We want to hear from the seniors, from the young people, all that, because I want perspective to come from all sides, not just my own. Okay, so that's what it is. Excuse me. You know what? I have been pulling and tugging at this dress all day. Okay. Oh, it's not that it doesn't fit. No, don't go there. It fits fine. It's the way it's made. I love these dresses, by the way. It's Skims. And if you haven't purchased one of these dresses, and I'm not doing any advertising for anybody, so I don't get dollars for this, but I just love to share things that I love. And I am absolutely in love with these dresses. They feel so good against your skin. I buy them to sleep in. I buy them to go. You can sleep in it or you can wear it out. Take your pick. It makes no difference. They're maxi dresses, but I love them. So yeah, just keep stalling. I'm trying to figure my Wi-Fi situation out, but whatever. So yeah, change is good. A lot of changes coming to the show. So I will just leave that where it is. And today I kind of just wanted to come on and talk about some things that I had posted on our TikTok page as well about men not sharing things with women because they feel like the women are going to throw it back in their faces. This is not going to be an hour-long discussion, right? So I'm going, again, this is going to be a quick topic to just get your brains thinking, because I really do want to know and understand. And I get it. I've been in a situation before where, and I'm guilty. So let me just qualify that by saying that I have been on both sides of this equation, right? This, and I'm talking about a situation that on Shaquille O'Neal's show, he made a reference. Well, he made a statement and he said not to share things with women because they will ultimately throw it back in your face when you become your most vulnerable. I have been on both sides of that fence, right? And I'm going to tell you why. Now, me telling you why I did what I did is not an excuse or a justification. It just is. I'm not excusing it away. It's bad behavior, because just because somebody treats you badly does not mean that you have the right to treat them badly. You're supposed to stay true to yourself. In that situation, I was not staying true to myself because I didn't feel like I needed to. I got to be honest. All trust was gone. I didn't trust my ex-husband to take care of my heart any longer. So I didn't care how he felt about anything. So yeah, I took something personal and I threw that he had told me that I threw back in his face. I didn't share it with anybody else, just him. I made him feel bad about it. And I got to be honest, I don't remember quite what it was. I just can't remember right now what it was, but I will say I do remember what he shared with somebody else, his girlfriend, that I had told him that was very personal and scary for me, which is, regarding my mother's situation. I don't want to end up like I love my mother with all of my heart, but I don't want to end up in the situation that she is currently in, single and, not really wanting to do a whole lot. She's retired, so struggling a little bit. I try to help her out. My brothers and I try to help her as much as we can. Never want to see my mother struggling. But when, the economy is awful right now, I'm thankful to have a job and to be able to pay my bills. But I promise you, I feel like that's all I'm doing is paying my bills. Oh, and of course buying dresses. so I'm not necessarily complaining. I don't like to complain. I'm just saying that I had shared with him that I say I'm a lot. I have to stop that. But I'm going off the cuff. I'm not reading anything. So just so that you know that this is like real and not rehearsed and all that. I'm literally coming to you because I just felt like talking tonight. Just wanted to get something out there, just kind of start doing things and putting out content. But I did want to start having this conversation and just have it be one of the things on the channel that people can, I want you to think when you leave OEP, or said OEP, EPT, right? When you leave our channel, when you leave our TikTok, I want you to think about your own situation. And I want hopefully something to resonate with you so that you can go forth and be of value in whatever situation you happen to find yourself in. Because I want to leave people better off after they have seen us, right? I don't want to just say things to say things. Now I'll do silly things every now and again that don't mean anything other than bringing you laughter or whatever. But ultimately, I want the channel to evolve and to be of value, right? I want conversations to be had by you and the people around you about this thing called life. And this was one of those situations with Shaquille O'Neal. When I heard it, kind of stopped me in my tracks because it did resonate with me personally, because I've been, like I said, on both sides of the fence. When my ex-husband shared with his girlfriend, and certainly in a fit of it, because he was angry, he wanted to hurt me any way he could. And I understood that later. In the moment, I did not. In the moment, I did not. I was trying to just disengage altogether because I had learned how to do that. And this was way after right before we were getting divorced, but while he was dating this chick and blah, blah, blah. I'll get to that sometime later too. But he had told her what my fear was. And she threw it back in my face. And I've got documentation for that as well, just in case. I'm never going to use it. But when I tell you I'm a woman that has all the receipts for everything I say out of my mouth, I have all the receipts. I keep everything. I think that's the writer in me and the thinker in me. I want to document my life day by day by day, sometimes moment by moment. I literally have journals with time dated, time stamped, even about the weather, what the weather was that day. My jars behind me, my prayer jars, they all have time, date, and some even have like if it was raining that day, right? So yeah, I want my life to be chronicled. I like to chronicle it that way because I know I'm going to get much older one day. I don't wish this on myself, but dementia runs in my family. And if I ever forget anything, I want to be able to open up a book. And if I can still read, and I want to be able to open up one of my journals and say, oh, I don't remember this, but I must have done it because I wrote it, right? So I want that for myself. So this particular conversation from Shaquille O'Neal, it unnerved me in such a way. As a healed woman, I didn't like that this was the narrative that he was putting out as a grown man, especially as an influential grown man. I made a TikTok video about it regarding people who have influence in how they should navigate and monitor what they say out of their mouths. Even if you've got a podcast and you're just doing it for likes, shares, and all that good stuff. You're also a multimillionaire. You're also a respected athlete, and you've got a huge following. And you have to be careful with what you say because people are paying attention. Okay. And I just felt like him saying that just left a lot of people. And again, I don't know this, but I did look at the comments, and the comments are pretty much all the same. From it was a divide, and I hate that divisiveness. If you've seen any of our videos here on EPT, I don't like divisiveness. I don't like men against women. I don't like it's us against them. And this is just the narrative that we should be spilling out and fighting against, because I get tired of us always looking like we're at odds. And I want to bridge that divide, honestly, between Black men and Black women, because I'm a Black woman. See, if you didn't know, I am a Black woman. I am. And I just felt like he just kind of shucked his responsibility as an influencer, as a person of influence, because he's still operating from his pain. I understood exactly what he was saying. I'm really getting tired of that stalk piece. I understood exactly what he was saying, because there are women who do that, who have done that. I also know that there's another side to that story, right? But to just say that don't do it, don't share your vulnerabilities with a woman, you're shutting down a huge part of what it means to be in a committed relationship. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. If I have to sleep next to you every night and I can't share my deepest, darkest secrets with you because I'm afraid you might share them with somebody else, then maybe you're not the person I should be laying down with each and every night. Right. In my situation, I had lost all trust in my ex-husband. He had cheated on me several times. And though I thought it would get better if I stayed and time progressed, and whatever reason you stay in a cheating, disloyal relationship, um, I knew that there were certain things that were kind of coming off of my list of things to protect. His feelings became one of those things, because he really had stopped caring about my feelings. It was all bad. And again, I do not excuse my behavior towards him. I own it. I'm accountable for what I said out of my mouth. And I have to pay for that, with whomever, my savior, or a divorce, or never having him trust me again with anything because of how I handled it the one time. It's interesting to me, though, that men can make these mistakes over and over and over again. I have seen this, and I'm making an acute observation. Not justifying anything, not saying this applies to all people, but in my experience, either personal experience or the women I've mentored or women I've had conversations with, men do not forgive the way women forgive. A woman can forgive you over and over and over again for stepping on her toes. You step on a man's pinky toe once, he will never forget that you stepped on his pinky toe. And you might not ever see this man's feet in your face or near your feet ever again. Okay. That has been my experience, again, personally and within my sphere of influence. And that saddens me. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's men operating out of their trauma as well, because I do think there's something very human about protecting yourself after you've been, pissed on once, right? You don't have to keep peeing on me to let me know that I need to move eventually. So I think there is some childhood situations, some childhood traumas that a lot of people have. And again, this is not a gender thing. This is a human thing. And that is also what I was bringing up in the TikTok video, is that this is not a gender situation. This is a human situation. Not just that men shouldn't tell their, deepest, darkest secrets to women that they don't trust, but that women shouldn't do it either, right? If you're not going to be able to trust somebody that you're laying down with every night, then that's not that's not your person. I need to be able to trust you. But when trust is broken, I have Trina and I have had that conversation in other videos about the importance of trust and what it does to a woman as well. Now a woman will stay, right? Now, don't get it twisted. A woman will stay through all the mistakes that men make and the behaviors that they've put her through. But trust and believe. In my situation, more specifically, the boxes again were coming unchecked or getting checked, however you want to see it. Does he take care of me anymore? Does he take care of my heart? No. Do I trust him? No. Do I feel safe with him? No. And when a woman doesn't feel safe, she also starts to respond in different ways, be her communication, be how she has sex with you, the lack thereof, whatever. Women change in different ways. We still might be there. While a man might leave a woman who he no longer trusts, a woman sticks it out. And again, I don't think it's a universal thing. I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying women in my sphere of influence and the things that I've seen, and me more specifically, right? We stick it out and see what's going to happen. Or maybe, in my specific situation, it became maybe just this is what marriage is. I actually started to justify that, hey, maybe our marriage is just one of those, kind of like Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, right? I think there was a video of him, justifying their toxicity as this is just what marriage is. No, what they're going through is not what marriage should be. It's what their marriage is. It's not what a healthy love looks like, okay, at all, period. But if it's however you define healthy, I guess, but those aren't my relationship goals. To be in a marriage where toxicity is the thing that solidifies us as a union. I don't need to say, oh, we got a good marriage because we've been together for 50 years and 45 of those years have been awful, right? If I can't have more good years with you than bad ones, you're not my person. I'm never going to suffer through that level of frustration and toxic, I use toxicity a lot, but it's what it is, right? That level of toxicity at the end of the day, I'm just not going to do it. Because why? Life is too short. It's something that I am learning. See, it's something that I'm learning even now, that life is too short to continue to deal with people who do not have your best interest at heart. Okay. And I just wanted to put that out there to just get, some feedback one day from you folks about, when do you share your vulnerable side with someone? Some women do it, in my opinion, and I've mentored some women who do it way too early, like they're revealing everything up front way too soon, day one, day two, letting somebody know who you are without understanding who they are at the end of the day, because I need to be able to trust you with my vulnerability. And me just telling you, I think sometimes I've seen that, women do this when they're trying to garner a man's trust, because what happens when you're vulnerable is that people do tend to trust you more, because they feel like, oh, well, this person is trusting me with this very sensitive information. And so that must mean that they're trustworthy. So maybe I should reciprocate. But if they never reciprocate, in my mind, what you're doing is making a checklist of ways to manipulate me. That's what, if you're not sharing, if you're not reciprocating those vulnerabilities and that sensitive information, then I am under the impression that you do not, that you are trying to, kind of get a list of how to handle me. Right. That is something that my ex-husband did. And like I said, I will never say anything bad about the man. I will only speak my truth. And that was my truth, is that I don't think I was ever loved. I don't think I was ever looked at as a wife. I don't believe I was ever, that he genuinely ever even cared about me. I think he tolerated me. And eventually we were together for so long, it was like, well, I can live with this. So I'll just, use what I have. And, when I can get into a better situation, I'll leave. That's not what happened, but that's what was happening. But I serve a God much greater than anybody's agenda. So the Lord tore that apart very quickly. I'm glad that we both got out alive. I watch true crime a lot. And honestly, not even joking, a lot of women and a lot of men, some men don't make it out of those bad relationships. So I'm just thankful we both made it out alive with our mental health intact, and that we both got a fresh start, because there are no unresolved issues with my ex-husband and I hear this a lot from people I speak with. It is that they didn't know why something happened, or they didn't get the answers they wanted. They still had questions that they needed to have answered in order to move on. I don't have any of that. That is not my story. My ex-husband and that's not his story either. My ex-husband and I, we had joked one day, because he had tried to call me. What did he call me? He used to call me names, and one of the names he always called me was oh shit, I forget what he used to say. He used to say dream killer. He used to call me a dream killer, and then he would call me a stank bitch and all of this. He used to call me names. And one day when we were on the phone, this was after we had I think this was after we had got divorced. No, this was before we got divorced. But before we had gotten divorced, we were on the phone. I think we were talking about the car, because he had bought me a car, but he'd never paid on it. I was the one that always paid on it, but because he had better credit, he was the primary on the account. So we were talking about, either me selling the car or getting his name off or something. And everything went left, and he just started cussing me out. And I just listened. And I was like, I knew I was healing from him, because his words just stopped hurting. And I even started to laugh, and I was like, I called his name and I said, you know what? Is this even necessary anymore? And I was so genuine, and he started to laugh. He was like, yeah, you're right. He's like, it don't even impact you the same. I said, yeah, it doesn't. I said, I think we're beyond that. And even though we dealt with each other probably a year or so after that situation, again, my memory is fuzzy about that. We left our relationship unresolved. I mean, it was resolved. It had run its course, and I don't have any questions. I can go into a whole new relationship without saying, "Oh, you're just like him," or, "Oh, I remember when he used to do." But what you should do is, it helps me, my relationships, my past relationships, not just him, were they were good. What's the word I'm looking for? They were good educational videos. If I'm going to use an analogy, my relationships were very good training videos for what a healthy relationship should not entail. Okay. Let's just keep it real. My past situations have helped me to understand what I won't tolerate. Now I'm at a stage in life where I'm trying to figure out what healthy relationships look like. I've been able to thwart the ones that are not healthy, right? I'm still making, I don't even like to call it bad decisions, it's questionable judgments, right? But my comeback is a lot stronger. Like, I am no longer just going to allow myself to stew in a situation for too long without saying, yeah, this ain't for me. This is not for me. This is not going to go well. This is not going to end well. Even though I knew that from day one, because, my God, there's certain things, certain needs that somebody has that lets them drive them to assume that they can continue down a path that they know they can't continue down. Okay, that's when that the Lord still loves you, honestly, because you're still you're still being taught. Again, just because you're healed from something doesn't mean you're not going to go back and try that thing again, just to see how healed you are. So I'm learning, I'm trying to figure this thing out. This is a new role for me, trying to figure out what healthy looks like. One of my mentees had actually asked me that one day about, I kept telling her everything that you shouldn't do, and that I didn't like, that I wouldn't tolerate. And she said, TD, what would you tolerate? I know everything that you are not going to deal with. And she opened my eyes. I didn't have an answer. I just didn't have an answer, all because I had never really had healthy love. So I just didn't have an answer for what that looked like. I just know what it doesn't look like. I know what doesn't feel good, and I know what I'm not going to deal with. Right? I just know, and that was one of them. That was one of the one of the things about the coming full circle here about sharing my vulnerabilities with men who did not have a right to know. I don't even tell men right away that, I have a son that passed away over a year ago. I don't share that up front because that is a vulnerable place for me. Because and then too, what does somebody you don't know really say to you, except what everybody else says, which is, oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm tired of hearing that. Okay. I don't need sympathy. I don't need, and that's why I don't share it. And I don't share a lot of things about myself. I'm a person of reciprocity now. I date reciprocally. So the energy that you give me is the energy that I'm going to give you back. I am not doing anything extra that I am not already seeing. If you're engaging with me, I'm engaging with you. I will kind of push the needle sometimes just to see if you are an engager, and if you aren't, I recognize that fairly quickly, right? So I don't need to keep this thing going. I don't block a lot of people, a lot of men who I don't connect with. I'm not going to block them off my phone, except unless they're like disrespectful, like overtly disrespectful, or just creepy AF. I've been getting some interesting characters. I will say I've not had a bad experience. Honestly, I think it's all process. I'm inclined to believe that these are the things that you have to do to kind of weed out the ones that are not for you. And I think my earnest prayer has always been, Lord, show me quickly, and He has. And sometimes I've ignored, right, and other times He just removes them, and that has always happened to me throughout my life. The Lord will literally, I might be really really into somebody, and something will just happen, and this person just jumps up and they're no more, right? So I just call that protection. That's how I deem it. Something could be wrong, I don't know. I just call it protections, the Lord protecting me from myself, which is again God's grace. God's grace. So we are almost at time here. Like I said, I didn't want to make this an hour-long video or anything, but I did want to come on here and just kind of just pluck your brains, say, give you something to think about heading into the new year. Again, this is all about a journey of healthy conversations and being more insightful and in tune with yourself and understanding you in a way that you may not have understood prior to asking yourself the things, all the questions, right? Things that your parents may not have shared with you, or the people that are in your sphere of influence may not have shared with you. So that is why I came on today to just say, hey, I'm again doing this off the cuff. So, usually it's me forgetting shit and, but I know shit, right? I don't think I've forgotten anything. I've been taking my ginkgo. Apparently that's supposed to help with the brain, but yeah, whatever. So let's just hope this little noggin lasts gets a little bit more sharp throughout the years, and that I can come back and just be my old gregarious self at every age, at every decade. Okay, so I hope everybody is having a fabulous, start to their new year. The political climate sucks. I don't want to talk about I don't want to necessarily talk about politics on here, but it just really sucks. There are no good options anywhere. I wish I could just move to an island and be my own government and still, lap in my luxuries. No such luck. So I hope things are going well for you. And if they're not, I pray for you. I pray that you are moving in the direction that you want. And if you are not moving in that direction, I pray that you find whatever your life's goal is. Okay? Because we should all we're all purposeful, and we are all here for a reason. Right? Okay. So that said, I will be signing off, and I will be back some other time. Won't give an exact date, but again, we're going to try to drop these once a week. I'm going to do my level best to do so. I just want to, again, kind of put content out there that is worthy and not just salacious in order to get likes and shares. I want it has to mean something. If it only touches two, that's enough for me. If I can change and help two people in this life, one person in this life be better off than they are right in this moment, then I have done exactly what I've been put on this earth to do. Okay. All right. Well, you guys be good. Signing off. It's TD, girl, just doing her thing. All right. Y'all be easy.